The week's biggest soaps news. It's been another big week for Emmerdale news, with worrying hints over Belle's future, and the revelation that another character will soon be bowing out for good. Elsewhere, the next chapter of Coronation Street's cult saga could be upon us, and a Neighbours legend has decided it's time to say goodbye. Did you miss any big news this week? Here's our regular Sunday guide to the biggest spoilers which have been shared. Emmerdale's Tom plans to leave with Belle. Could the next drama in Tom and Belle King's dark Emmerdale storyline take place away from the village? It seems likely, as next week's episodes see Tom step up his cruel attempts to completely isolate Belle from the love of her family. As Charity grows increasingly suspicious that something isn't right in Belle's marriage, Tom worries that his disturbing abuse could finally be exposed. Keen to get Belle away from her support network, Tom applies for a job in a remote part of Wales and tricks Belle by claiming that they'll be heading there on holiday. In reality, he plans for it to be a permanent move. We know Tom isn't really leaving the ITV soap anytime soon, as his story runs until the end of the year, but are we about to see him and Belle head away for scenes elsewhere? Emmerdale's Nate to leave the village. One character who is leaving the Dales for good is Nate Robinson, who'll be bowing out after a 5-year stint in the show. News broke this week that Jarrell Carter, who plays Nate, has decided to leave the ITV soap and will depart in a major storyline later this year. As is usually the policy with cast exits these days, Emmerdale has stayed silent on the reports to avoid spoiling future storylines. Coronation Street's cult lines up a new target. Coronation Street star Maurice Cooper, who plays creepy cult leader Rowan Cunliffe, recently warned that the Evil Institute could start to recruit other residents of the street soon. Lean Battersby has been lured in by Rowan's nonsense and was recently promoted by the cruel con artist, who promised that she'd soon have the authority to bring in new members. Next week's official spoilers have hinted that Amy Barlow could be on the hit list, as she's intrigued when Lean speaks to her about the supposed benefits of the Institute. Our dream scenario. Amy's mum Tracy, who's been tipped for a return soon, teams up with Toya and becomes Rowan's worst nightmare. Danny Dyer suggests an EastEnders return plot. Danny Dyer is asked about his ambiguous EastEnders exit pretty much every time he's interviewed for a new project. In a new chat this week, Danny admitted that he'd be willing to return as Mick Carter for the BBC soap's 40th anniversary in February next year, if only to stop everyone from bothering him about his Walford past. Danny told Heatworld that Mick is dead and scoffed at the idea that he could rock up covered in seaweed after his watery end. However, he added, "I think if they did it right, with the 40th anniversary coming up, if they came up with an idea of maybe Linda drunk or hallucinating, then I would come back and do some scenes with her. You know, because I do miss Kelly Bright, who plays Linda, and I think maybe that would stop people asking me when I'm *** King going back." With show bosses likely to be adding their finishing touches to storyline plans for the 40th, it's definitely not a bad time for Danny to float the possibility. Neighbours exit for Toady. Neighbours shocked fans this week with the unexpected news that Ryan Maloney is leaving his role as Toady Rebecca. Ryan was one of the core 4 legacy cast lured back for the Amazon Freeview revival, but he's now pursuing a career behind the camera instead. Digital Spy understands that Ryan has already filmed his final scenes, but will remain on screen for a while yet due to the show's shooting so far in advance. He said this week, "After 30 years playing Toady, I will be leaving Ramsay Street. I can't tell you what is happening to the character _ maybe I could be the next Eugene Robinson. Or maybe I'll be the next Harold Bishop and keep popping back over the years. And although I won't be bringing you our fantastic storylines from in front of the camera, I will be bringing them to you from the other side, behind the camera. I've just started director training and have just finished filming my first episode as director, so I really hope that you enjoy that. Thank you all for the love that you have shown me and Toady over the years. 3 decades, in fact. I'll miss you, I'll miss him, and I'll miss Erinsborough, but whatever you do, make sure you don't miss what's going to happen on Ramsay Street."